People deluded, I'm back again. Fridays equals Q&A day, so without further ado, let me do exactly that and answer your questions, to be quite frankly honest with you. Let me just get them up. Okay, should have had all of that sorted already, but yeah, people, we're back on. What can I say? Thank you very much for the questions, man, each and every time. Obviously without you lot I can't do the Q&A, so let's crack on, man. Antonio's asked me, DG, did you watch the Copa final between Boca Juniors and River Plate? No, I didn't, my guy, but I'll go and look at the highlights. I must admit, yeah, I just wasn't interested in it, essentially. Quintero had an amazing performance. His technical qualities are phenomenal. His movement, passing, and his playmaking quality in the attacking moments are surprisingly amazing. What are your thoughts about this player? Well, like you said, he's a good player. He's shown it at the World Cup. He's obviously shown in this final. He's always had ability. It's always been there. But for one reason or another, he just, between not being able to settle in a club in Europe, between injuries, not being able to reach your potential, it's just, he is where he is now. I'm sure he played for Porto, and he was spoken of one, along with Etrubi as well, hopefully I've said his name correctly, as one that would follow James Rodriguez and all the South American exports, both of Benfica and specifically to Porto, in that they'll be world beaters or go on to do quality stuff or join more reputable clubs. And he's got the abilities. Like you said, his playmaking, his passing, his set-piece delivery, he's got it. But for one reason or another, it hasn't quite clicked for him. And for one reason or another, he finds him, not to belittle South American football, South American standards, but if he was anywhere near the potential he was earmarked to have had, or the ability that he's supposed to possess, he wouldn't be back in South America currently in his what should be his best years in Europe and stuff like that. But he's there for a reason, and he's a decent player. Abdul, big up yourself, has also asked, Balogun versus Nketiah versus Mavididi, how would you rank them? It's difficult because they're all at different stages in their careers. Mavididi's a bit irrelevant, so I'll disregard him because he doesn't play for the club anymore. Balogun and Nketiah, Eddie Nketiah is ahead of him. He's older than him. He's been exposed to under 23 football more often, training with the first team more often. Things like that. He's a bit sharper in the mind. He's a bit sharper in terms of movement, in terms of what he needs to do, a bit more calculated than Balogun. But Balogun's getting there. He's always been a goal scorer. He's always had good general playmaking abilities. But I feel personally it's gone up a level this year. He looks more gassed, more full of himself, for want of better words. And he's doing exactly that. And he's developing fine. Next step for Balogun is to step up into the under-23s on a full-time basis. He's been on the bench a couple of times and made some minutes. But yeah. And obviously you've got Tyrese John Jules, and who's another young player I've got a lot of time for. And you've got a lot of young players dotted about in a lot of positions, so it's difficult for people to get games. Maybe if there wasn't as much attacking talent at Arsenal like the other clubs, I'd probably think Balogun and Sam Greenwood, his age mate with the under-18s, would have featured more prominently for our under-23 second string side. So yeah. Bellows asked, would you like Arsenal to sign Rabiot on a free transfer to replace Aaron Ramsey, and Fornals of Villarreal to replace Santi Cazorla? I mean, who wouldn't take Rabiot on a free transfer? But because of on the basis that he's a free transfer, and because of that, there's going to be a long list of suitors. And if I'm City, I'm interested in him. PSG, try and renew his contract. Madrid, Barca, all of these teams should just be interested because of who he is. So we probably got not a snowball's chance in hell of getting him. But yeah, I would take that. And of course I'll take Fornals. I've made a video about him. And you've also asked me, what are your thoughts on Sander Berge from Gent? I've actually made a video on him. If you type in my name and his name, it will come up. But I think he's a good young player, my guy. So hopefully that answers your questions. Rax has asked me, what do you think of Reece Oxford not getting any game time at West Ham? It's sad. Obviously, on one hand, it's sad because the guy's got the ability. I don't know why he's not been given or afforded chances at West Ham. I couldn't tell you. He's had a good loan spell in Germany, and he probably wanted to go back there and play full time. So he's not even having a look in with West Ham. Now, the manager's allowed. If the manager doesn't rate him, then the manager doesn't rate him. The manager's entitled to have his own opinion. But considering how much they overplayed his performance against Arsenal, against Mesut Ozil, you would have thought he'd have kicked on, and it's not happened for him. So yeah, Pellegrini's obviously deemed the likes of Declan Rice and all the others ahead of him in terms of central defence or central midfield. So I couldn't tell you, but it's sad to see from a young player who's got so much potential, who's judging by the way he came up and stuff, in the same way you're saying Declan Rice, who might change his international future somewhere else, Gomez and all these other young Foden and all of these other young players and different ages and different positions, you would have thought he would have been in the conversation in regards to an exciting future with England. So hopefully he gets back to it. Hopefully West Ham let the man depart the club if they don't have any intentions on playing him. And you've also asked me, what's your thoughts on Gary Cahill to Arsenal? Brother, I'm not on it. I'm not on it. The deep thing is I can see how the club would be sold on him, or I could make it feasible in my head in the sense that he's English. Obviously, we can't underestimate the homegrown factor when registering squads. You could technically say he brings experience because he's won the Prem and all of these things at Chelsea. Yeah, he's a homegrown player, so it doesn't matter what country you're from. You understand what Arsenal or the rest of the top six means to anyone. But he's obviously a homegrown lad, born in England and stuff like that, so he knows what it means to the fans. But I'm not on it, man. I'm not on it. I know with Holding's injury we need to get someone in, but I'm not on it, my guy. I won't sit here and lie to you. I'm not on it. Full stop. FA, big up yourself, has asked me. He's another consistent commenter and them things, man. Nothing goes unnoticed. You've put, I like Jadon Sancho. Should we flog Mkhitaryan, Iwobi, Ramsey and break the bank for him? What's your thoughts? My guy, if it was that easy, I'd be all up for it, man. I would love Jadon Sancho. Allegedly, the club are heavily scouting him and would love him at the club. We actually tried to get him when he left Man City to go to Dortmund, but obviously his decision's been backed up. I would love him. I'd love to break the bank for him. Aaron Ramsey, I don't. We've clearly shown that we're going to let the man leave for free, which is silly. But if we could get 25 minimum for him in January, be up for it. Admittedly, I don't really want to force Iwobi out the side, so I wouldn't be up for that. I'll be up for selling Mkhitaryan just if it meant bringing in Sancho. So, yeah, man. I would try and do business for 50. Obviously, it's going to go above that, and that's probably out of Arsenal's price range. So, yeah, my guy, that's my thoughts. Aaron's asked me, do you think Santiago Escobar, I can't say his name, but I've made a video on him, this defensive combative midfielder that plays for Stuttgart, Argentinian lad. Let me just start that again. Do you think Santiago Escobar would be a good signing to bring off the bench and put next to Torreira when we need to retain a lead? Bro, I like your thinking, my guy. I like the way you're going about it. I like the way you're thinking about it. That's what I believe the squad's missing. If it's not him necessarily, I just believe different options. There's going to be games where, you see, Torreira's a couple bookings away from being suspended. So, and you're looking at, we've got Spurs, we've got Liverpool coming up. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He might miss one of them games. So if we could get someone else that can be in the space of Torreira, would be great. Just on the topic of a football club, logically speaking, your club shouldn't rely on one owner, one manager, one player, or one set of players or staff to keep going as a club. Torreira's holding up the midfield. If Torreira leaves, or if Torreira was to leave, not that he would, or was to get injured, sadly, we're in some trouble. And he needs to be rested. We can't expect him to play 30. Not that he can, because he missed out on the first initial weeks, but can't expect man to play 38 games, all of the Europa League, possibly the FA Cup. He'll get a rest in the Carling. You can't expect him to play all of this. He'll do it, and I'm happy to see that he's fit, but we're playing a dangerous game. So between being able to rest Torreira, between being able to side someone with Torreira, between being able not to use both of them in games where we can just dominate on the ball, not that I do think Torreira's got more strengths in that department for me, people, and I think he's going to show a lot more in that regards. I like your thinking, and I do think Santiago would be a good signing. He probably needs to improve before he gets to step up in a move. I feel at times he gives away silly fouls, and he does love a booking, which the way he plays is always going to happen. But I like the way you're thinking, my guy. Michael's asked me, would you take would love? I've messed up your question. I tried to read two at the same time. My eyes, I need my glasses. Would love Duffy from Brighton, DG. What's your thoughts? My guy, I'm not gonna lie, I think Duffy's alright, but I'm not really sold on him to a degree. If I was gonna go for anyone for them sort of teams, Tarkowski's not in the best of form, but I'd probably go for Tarkowski more than I would him. Who else? I saw this question when I was writing it up, and there was a centre half that came to my head. It's escaped me, my guy, but there's a couple centre halves in lower leagues I'd probably go for before him, or the lower sort of teams before him. Tarkowski, and then Tarkowski would be one, maybe even another Burnley lad. So yeah, now that I've answered the question on the spot, the guy's evaded me, or the person's name I had in mind's evaded me, but we could do a lot worse. I guess he's homegrown and he's decent, but I'd probably prefer his defensive partner. So anyways, thank you for your question. Michael's asked me, and I think this is the last one, DG, for your Q&A, what is the term breading? You use it a lot. Breading just means kissing up, bum sucking, just, yeah, that's all it is. It's just a saying in London. Like, you hear people say, you hear me say it a lot, stop breading, I'm not on breading, you're bread, this and that. So that's all it is, my guy. I actually think I have one more question in my DMs. I saw it on Twitter. I think I missed you out last week. I'm going to find you, my guy, because I'll make sure. Here it is. Ryan Hastings, big up yourself, man. You asked a question and I forgot to include it last week. So, yeah, big him up, man, because he's always offering positive words and stuff. And, yeah, man, he's a consistent viewer. So, thank you very much, Reese. I don't know why I called you Ryan Hastings there. Your name's Reese, and that's the same name as a family member. But I'm rambling now. You've also asked a similar question. With us being reliant on Lucas Torreira in defensive mid, who would you see as an alternative / backup? Personally, I'd like Decor to come into that position. I do think Decor's slightly different. He can do what he can do that. So yeah, I'd take him. It's difficult when you're put on the spot, you know, because there's so many examples. I'd say him. You put me on the spot here. No one's coming to mind. No combative midfielders are coming to mind. Santiago is one. There's a few in France. You've put me on the spot, my guy. I'd have to get back to you, or you'd have to look at my vids, man. It's always difficult when you're put on the spot to think of players, man. I know you lot rate me highly in terms of my football knowledge and things like that, but you lot, I don't always have a list of names that I'm ready to read off, man. But yeah, I would like another combative midfielder. I'm sure I've done a couple vids on players. Whoever I'm missing out. There's a couple at Celta Vigo I'll take. Admittedly, I don't necessarily... I want a combative midfielder, but I also want someone that can pass the ball forward, in my opinion, man. Let me get back to you, my guy, because I've done you an injustice. Because, you see, I mean, you've put me on the spot. There's... I'm trying to think of one, bro. I'm trying. The first one I've been fighting not to say it, but Ndombele, I'd break the bank for Ndombele completely, but for obvious reasons, that's not a thing. Maybe Gedson Fernandez of Benfica. I think he could develop into a role like that, my guy. But again, probably have to break the bank for him. Yeah, man. I think, yeah, you put me on the spot. There's definitely a couple more, but yeah, let me get back to you, man. I've done you dirty in that regards, but what can I say, man? Each and every time you lot come hard with these questions, and like I said, I don't miss out questions intentionally. Like you saw with Reese, almost missed out his question again, and he probably would have stopped watching me, but I remembered, and I went and looked in my DMs and found the question. So I'll always go above and beyond, man. I don't miss out people's questions on purpose, and if I have this one, please forgive me, people. But yeah, I hope I've given you some content on this Friday, man. Go and check out the other vids, subscribe, and do the rest, people. Deluded, man. I'd love Ndombele off topic, man, but we can't break the bank for him. Yeah, man. People, I'm out.